Hey guys, welcome back to Talkin Sporty and Sometimes Nerdy with Lindsay on WPPJ Point Park Radio. Today I'm actually going to start on something kind of nerdy because I just went on Twitter. Well, it's actually, it's nerdy. I just went on Twitter and I saw that the name of Star Wars 9 is The Rise of Skywalker, and I'm upset because if this means that Rey is a Skywalker, I don't want her to be. I don't want her to be a Skywalker because the whole thing about Star Wars is it's just like the Skywalkers making a mess in the galaxy. That's all that happens, and I think Rey should not be a Skywalker, especially since, like, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I like her and Kylo Ren together. But anyway, and Kylo Ren's a Skywalker, as some of you, as anyone who knows Star Wars would know. Some of you might not know, but now you do. Yeah, and that comes out December 20th, as they always do, come out around the Christmas time. And I don't know how to feel about that name. Well, I said earlier, I don't like it, if it means Rey is a Skywalker. I just don't know. I mean, it could mean, like, the rise of Kylo Ren, which is, like, what? I thought the point is, like, we're trying to stop him. And I'm just kind of lost at this point with the rise of Skywalker because I love Star Wars and I like the Skywalkers, but I don't want Rey to be one. I like that tweet that's like everybody's concerned about who Rey's real parents are when Chewie's the one out here taking her to Jedi practice and dropping her off to meet her boyfriend he doesn't approve of, and I like that. I think Chewbacca should be Rey's adopted father, and she shouldn't be a Skywalker. Moral of the story is I haven't gotten to watch the trailer yet, actually, because like I said, I just saw it on Twitter and it was like 2 minutes before I was supposed to start the show, so I wasn't gonna risk it by watching the trailer. But I'll see, maybe during a commercial I'll watch the trailer and then I can talk about it more later. But anyway, I'm gonna move on to sports. Hockey specifically is what I'm gonna start with because it's the Stanley Cup playoffs right now, and the Penguins are going up against the New York Islanders, and I personally thought this was going to be a pretty easy, well, not easy, but I didn't think like the Penguins would have as hard of a time as they're having. Right now, their defense just wasn't there, or it's not there, it wasn't there on, they played Wednesday night, it wasn't there. Dumo, he was out due to injury, along with Zach Aston-Reese. They both returned, but it wasn't a great return. I mean, yeah, they just got back from injury, so I wasn't expecting them to, like, score 3 goals each or anything, but they did not look great. The defense as a whole did not look great. It was kind of like, where you at, defense? Also, the first line was a big thing people were disappointed with in, Sid. They just think he wasn't playing as well as he could. He only had 42% of the face-offs. He wasn't doing so well with the face-offs. His average was 42%. So, yeah, people are wondering what they're going to do to fix the issues they had in the first game because, you know, you don't want to have a first-round exit. Come on, you're a 5-time Stanley Cup championship franchise. So, to have a first-round exit, I mean, yeah, the team has had its problems this year, but I think they're good enough to make it to the second round. Sorry, I was just looking at a message I got. So yes, I think the Penguins definitely their first line. I don't know what they're going to do to work on it. I think maybe since, you know, it's Sidney Crosby, Mike Sullivan will probably just, like, let him figure it out and just be like, whatever is going on, I'm sure you'll work through it. Same with Jake Gensel. He seems, like I've said before, to go on X Games mode in the playoffs. He, you know, I mean, he didn't last night, or Wednesday night. I don't know what day of the week it is. He didn't Wednesday night, but hopefully tonight they play again. Hopefully it's a much better game for the Penguins. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was a close game. And in the playoffs, they tend to be closer games. Well, some of the other games that I'm going to talk about later weren't. But it happens. It's not rare for them to be closer games because these are the teams that played the best this season. So obviously it's not going to be just like be something you can breeze through. I did think the Penguins had a better chance of winning against the Islanders, but I guess I was wrong. So yeah, they had some interesting players in and out last night. Jack Johnson was out, which I've been asking for all season. However, they took him out and then the defense didn't do well. So maybe some reporters are predicting that he's back in tonight if he is, and then the team plays better if defense is better. If Jack Johnson does something amazing tonight, I will write him a letter to personally apologize for all the times I've said I wanted him off the team. Other than that, another problem for the Penguins is that, you know, Barry Trotz is, yeah, that's the coach of the Islanders, correct? And he coached, I could get the wrong name. I haven't slept at all this week. I have, but not a lot. He is the coach of the Penguins, or not the Penguins, dang it, the Islanders. This is what happens when you don't sleep. And he coached the Washington Capitals, if that's not, yeah. So that says a little bit, because having coached the Washington Capitals, and they're a big rival of the Penguins. They pay a lot of attention to the Penguins. They've played them a lot in the playoffs, so he knows how the Penguins kind of play in the playoffs, and he has that advantage on them. The three people that did score for the Penguins were Schultz, Kessel, and Malkin. Kessel has been a little MIA this season, so it was good to see him score in the playoffs. Good for him. Fans are happy about that. I'm sure he's happy about that. Hopefully he can keep this momentum up, and the rest of the team can kind of join him and play well. As for other teams, the other teams that have played so far, which would be, I believe, everyone in the playoffs, the Maple Leafs played the Bruins last night and beat them 4-1. The Canes the Canes lost to the Caps 4-2. Kind of not surprising though. The Avalanche lost to the Flames 4-0. I had them beating them. I'm going to talk about my bracket in a minute because I couldn't pull it up on the NHL app. I don't know if I'm just really bad with technology, but I filled it out Monday morning, 7 a.m. I was lying in bed, putting off getting ready to go to class, and I filled out a bracket. And then I have yet to figure out, like, I haven't seen it since because I can't figure out how to pull it up. So I'm going to try to remember it. But anyway, moving on. Blue Jackets and Lightning. That's a game I kind of want to talk about because the Lightning lost by 1 point, 3-4. And they were up 3-0. And of course, they blew their lead. And I've talked about this before where I've seen the Lightning blow 3-point leads. And they're a really good team. And I really had them. I remember my bracket. I actually do have them winning the Stanley Cup. And if they don't, like, they're going to mess up my bracket, and that's not very nice of them. So, I don't know. I just see, even though they did give up that lead, I don't see anyone being able to go an entire series against them and beat them best out of 7. Because they will tire them out. The Lightning is a really good team. They have really great defensive defensemen, which I think the Penguins need to work on more because they got a lot of two-way defensemen because they like to have their offensive defensemen. But you got to have defensive defensemen because that's what our issue is the defense. So, got off track there. But, yeah, I think as for the Lightning, they need to figure out how to keep a lead because I said that before during the regular season that if they can't be giving up 3-point leads in the playoff. And they gave up a 3-point lead in the playoffs, and they lost. So hopefully they get themselves together because I need them to for the sake of my bracket. Moving on to the Blues and the Jets. The Blues beat the Jets. Does that say Jets? Yes, Winnipeg Jets. Sorry, I couldn't read my handwriting. Surprising to me because I thought the Winnipeg Jets were for sure going to win, but it's fine. The Stars beat the Predators, another surprising one to me. I mean, I do like the Stars. I think they're a good team, but I think I thought the Predators had a better chance. But, you know, it's only the first game of the series. And then the Sharks beat the Vegas Golden Knights 5-2. I do like the Vegas Golden Knights because, you know, Marc-Andre Fleury from Pittsburgh, well, played with Pittsburgh. He's from Canada. But, I did have the Sharks beating them in this series. I don't know why. I just felt like they've been a really good team this season. And the Vegas Golden Knights were really good last season, and they're still good, but they aren't the same team they had last season. And the Sharks are a little closer to that, and I think even better than what they were last season because they did play each other in the playoffs last season. I believe it was the 3rd round. And Vegas beat the Sharks. But I think this time around, the Sharks are going to beat Vegas. Sorry, Marc-Andre Fleury, I still love you, but you're probably not going to get to the 2nd round. For the Stars Predators, like I said, I have the Predators winning that. I'm not a big Predators fan, so this is probably surprising to people, but I just felt like they had a better chance, and they're really hungry for a Stanley Cup. They have been, you can tell. And I mean, I'm sure the Stars want one too, but I just feel like the Predators are going to win that. For the Blues and the Winnipeg Jets, I really saw the Winnipeg Jets winning that series because they have really good young players like Patrick Laine, and they made it really far last season, and I just feel like they have the better chance than the St. Louis Blues. As for the Blue Jackets Lightning, obviously I had the Lightning winning the whole thing, so you know what I have there. And then for the Avalanche Flames, I have the Flames beating them because they were the #1 in their division. The Avalanche, I like them. I like Nathan McKinnon, but obviously the Flames surprised me this season, and I think they're going to go pretty far. I mean, they did shut out the Avalanche. I believe it was last night. And then the Hurricanes and the Capitals. You know, the Capitals are the reigning Stanley Cup champions. And as much as I'm not a Capitals fan because I'm here in Pittsburgh, I do think they have a better chance over the Hurricanes. I would like them to win because of the fact that they haven't been in the playoffs since I think it was over a decade. So I think that the Capitals definitely have a better chance, but I would like to see the Hurricanes pull it off. I have the Maple Leafs beating the Bruins, and they did last night, and I'm really happy for them. I think Mitch Marner scored 2 goals, or did he score all 4? I don't know. But I didn't get to see the details of that game. I just think that, like I've said so many times, I thought the Maple Leafs were a big cup contender this season, and they have all those young players like Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews, Kasperi Kapanen, Willie Nylander, who was, I feel like fans were picking on him for a while, like, other than the fact that he was out for a while because of contract issues and him wanting more money and blah, blah, blah. But, like, when he came back, they were still like, oh, he's not that great, but I think he's pretty good. So, besides that, I think the Maple Leafs have a good chance, and the other team I think has a good chance is the Lightning. Even though they gave up that lead, I still believe in them. I'm not even, like, this is gonna sound bad, but, like, I'm not even, like, a big Lightning fan, even though, like, I'm from the Tampa area. Obviously, I'm not supposed to show bias to teams, but, I'm here in Pittsburgh, so I'm rooting for the Penguins. And I do like other teams and the other players on other teams, and I think the league as a whole has a lot of great players, a lot of great teams. It's really fun to watch hockey because of that. And the playoffs especially, because everybody amps it up, except I don't know what the Penguins are doing right now. But everybody amps it up, so it is really nice to see that, and really cool. It's a really cool game to watch. In these next few minutes before I go to commercial break, I'm going to start discussing football. Move on to football because the preseason has just been announced, the schedule at least, and here in Pittsburgh, people love football. They love their Steelers. So I'm going to tell you what the Steelers' schedule is. For week 1, they're playing the Bucks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Excuse me. In week 2, they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. In week 4, they're playing the Carolina Panthers. And in week 5, they play the Tennessee. Nope, sorry, I messed that up. In week 3, I skipped. In week 3, they play the Tennessee Titans. And that game, yeah, I think that's August 25th is the week 3 game. I just know that one because I think it was around the same date when I saw a Steelers preseason game against the Tennessee Titans. The Steelers won. It was a really exciting game. I've never been able to go to a regular, actually I have. I've never been able to go to a regular season game here at Heinz Field, but I saw the Steelers play in Miami a couple seasons ago. Wasn't good. They lost. It was, Ben got injured. I can't remember the details of what happened because it was 2 years ago and I don't get enough sleep. But yeah, it wasn't my favorite game, sporting event, anything I've ever attended. But it was still fun. I mean, it was still fun, but you don't like to lose. Yeah, so they have a pretty good preseason schedule. I know fans are excited about that. As soon as this comes out, you know, gets people really hyped up for the season. You know, they still have training camp in July, and you know, football fans, they're just really excitable people. They love their team. They get hyped when they hear any good news or any just like news, really, if it's other than bad news. Like good news as in like they're winning, they're doing great, and just plain news as in schedules, and then bad news would be we lost. So like fans are really excited. Moral of the story, fans are really excited to hear about the football schedule. I'm excited. I don't know, sometimes you can get cheaper tickets for preseason games, so maybe I'll go to another one rather than a regular season game. I would like to go to a regular season game at Heinz Field. Heinz Field is a really pretty stadium. I love Pittsburgh's stadiums because you can you have a view of like the city, or like Mount Washington. I know you can see Mount Washington from certain seats. So I love that. Like the Pirates Stadium too. You have a beautiful view of the or the Pirates Park, PNC Park. You have a beautiful view of the city. It's so nice. Pittsburgh's really pretty, okay? Yeah. Got a little off track, but other than that, I think I hope it's gonna be a good season for the Steelers. They have some time to get themselves together. There is still some drama going on, as you may know, and I will talk more about that after I come back from a commercial break. Welcome back to Talkin' Sporty and Sometimes Nerdy with Lindsay. I'm Lindsay here on WPPJ Point Park Radio. And before I get back into sports, I did, during the commercial break, watch The Rise of Skywalker, whatever, I can't remember the name. The Rise of Skywalker, yep, I watched the trailer. And, wow. Well, first of all, I was talking about how I was upset about the name because I hope it doesn't mean Rey is a Skywalker. And I messaged my brother about it because we're both big into Star Wars. And he was like, no, it just means that, Anakin and Luke are going to come back as Force Ghosts and beat up Kylo Ren, and I'm fine with that. I actually kind of like Kylo Ren, which I know you're not supposed to, but I also kind of liked Darth Vader. Like, I don't like what they're about, but as, like, deep down, they're nice people. Yeah, anyway, in the trailer, you can see for a second Lando is in it. That's cool. Also, the end of it, that sounds like Palpatine's laugh, so if, like, Palpatine's back, or, well, I don't think, Snoke is dead, so maybe that was just Snoke and he sounds like Palpatine. Also, I have this theory, well, besides, like, the fact that, like, Jar Jar is a Sith Lord and it would be really cool if he was Snoke, I have a theory that, Darth Maul is, not Darth Maul, but, Darth Maul and, I can't remember her name, but the girl that Han was dating in the movie Solo, that ends up, like, we find out she was working with Darth Maul. Just spoiled the movie for you guys, sorry. If you haven't seen it by now, that's on you. Darth Maul and her, like, I guess they were together, and if they had a kid, then maybe their kid is Snoke? What if their kid's Rey? Anyway, getting off topic here. I'm gonna go back to sports before this, spirals. But, I mentioned Steelers drama, which there has been for a while, and you thought, you know, when the Steelers traded Antonio Brown, there's not going to be any drama anymore, right? Wrong. Antonio Brown does not agree with that statement because he was tweeting something about keep your emotions off the internet, which is like, are you the one to be saying that? Because he obviously is just tweets and posts on Instagram, whatever he's feeling, whatever's going on with his life, and he just airs out his dirty laundry like it's no big deal. So, no offense, but kind of hypocritical, sorry. But then someone tweeted him, I was gonna write out everything, because I don't have my phone, but I was gonna write out everything that was said, but I don't have time for that. Someone replied to him something, and it went back and forth, and then he ended up mentioning Juju, someone replied with the fact that Juju was MVP, and then AB went back with talking about Juju's fumble against the Saints, and which is kind of a low blow in my opinion, because obviously Juju apologized, like, he didn't have to apologize for that, it happens, and he did. So Juju, we all know he already felt really bad about that, so, and he's only like 22 years old, like, there's no need to be hating on him like that. But he did that, and then Juju responded saying, you know, he's only showed the man love and respect since he got to the league. Just kind of went on with that, and like he doesn't understand why he's being attacked by him. And he was more like about being respectful and showing love and whatnot. And he didn't really say anything hurtful, I don't think. But then AB, I guess, was hurt by it and fired back by posting on his Instagram a screenshot of a DM that Juju sent him while he was still playing and a student at the University of Southern California, and he was asking Antonio Brown for advice, like saying, oh, I'm a big fan, I think you're great, that kind of stuff. It would be great if you could give me some advice, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. He's just being a nice kid. Like, he was being nice and complimentary towards Antonio Brown, so how would that be a diss at Juju? I think Antonio Brown was doing that as a way to like stroke his own ego, like, look, he was looking up to me, so whatever. And it's like, yeah, he was, because you were in the league before him. You're both wide receivers, and you've been you were making headlines before for how well you've played, and now you're making headlines for your drama. But back then you were the guy to look up to, so naturally he's gonna do that. But now he's doing really well, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no need to get so defensive and just petty about it. But I don't think Juju has said anything since. I think he's just kind of taken the high road and like living his life. I think he was on vacation in Iceland. I saw him post something about Iceland. But yeah, so I think he's just kind of ignoring it, which I think would be the best to do, because the more you give AB this platform, the more he's going to take it and run with it. He's going to continue to just be petty. But Belle, posted a screenshot of a text, I believe was from Connor or James Conner, or to him, talking about like there's nothing but love between them, like with all the drama going on. Just want you to know, like, there's no beef between us, kind of deal. And I think, like, that's good that, like, he's showing that, like, the former Steelers running back and current Steelers running back, James Conner, they're fine. Like, they still say nothing but love, you know? So I think that's a good example to set. And, you know, when it's coming from Brown, who had all, or not Brown, Bell, who had all this drama with his pay and whatnot, I think that's saying something. Like, Bell, it's like, or Brown, keep getting them mixed up. It's not, like, just move on, is what I have to say about Antonio Brown. I think he just needs to move on, and he's having trouble doing that. Like, you're on a new team. Just put all the drama behind you and try to start anew and just focus on playing well for the Raiders, because you wanted to be traded. And I think that was something he mentioned, that he was like traded in his sleep, like he didn't see it coming. But he was tweeting like, goodbye Pittsburgh, and like, it's been real, and just talking about, everyone knew it. He was in the media talking about wanting to be traded. Everybody knew he requested a trade. So what are you talking about? You were traded in your sleep. You saw it coming because you wanted it to happen. I don't understand. I think he just like doesn't really, I don't mean this in like a really mean way, but he like doesn't really have a filter. Like, he just says whatever's on his mind, and it's not like always something you should say. But hopefully he is able to just move on. Hopefully at the beginning of the season, like, we don't hear from him again. I know most fans think we're going to keep hearing from him. He's going to keep finding ways to diss Pittsburgh and Juju, any current players. I mean, which is sad, and I'd like him not to, but I think he's going to continue to. The Steelers aren't scheduled to play the Raiders. That's good. Good luck to the Raiders. Hopefully someone over there at the Raiders can get Antonio Brown to tone himself down. I don't know how old, I know he's like in his 30s, and I think it's time for him to calm down a bit. Moving on to what the rest of the world calls football. The Riverhounds, they beat Louisville FC 1-0. That was last week, I believe, and Nico Brett scored on a penalty kick. And it was their, to get the 1-0 final score. It was their first regular season win. And they have their first home opener tomorrow, Saturday, April 13th. I believe it's at 7 p.m. I don't think I'll be able to go, even though I kind of wanted to. But I'm excited for their season because it's their 20th anniversary season, and their coach, Bob Lilly, he won a USL championship with, who was it? Hartford? One of his former teams. It was their 20th anniversary season, and they won the championship. And I would like to see that for the Riverhounds. I don't know. I've said this before. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So it could happen. I'm just saying it could happen. The Riverhounds are a good team. They made it to the quarterfinals, I believe, last season. So I don't think they're a bad team. They just, they had some things they need to work on. Hopefully they're working on them. And I mean, it would be cool, really cool to see this Pittsburgh soccer team doing well, because I know they don't get as much attention as the Penguins, Pirates, Steelers, and I think they deserve more attention because they're a good team and it's a fun sport, and I would like to see more people pay attention to it. As for the other things I have on my notes about soccer is some Premier League news. I don't have a ton because I was looking at the ESPN app and it was only giving me certain things, so I had to start looking some up, and then I ran out of time because I had to start the show. Anyway, I did watch the Chelsea-West Ham game on Monday. Chelsea won 2-0. Hazard scored the 2 goals, and he looked phenomenal. He was just like, look at me, I can score, I'm the best. Anyway, he was really cool, and I was making jokes. My roommate was watching it with me, and I was like, I guess you could say he's hazardous, because like it's spelled like hazard, so like you see it's like he's hazardous to the other team. Anyway, bad joke, I'll move on. Then they played Prague yesterday, and they beat them 1-0, so good for Chelsea. And then Arsenal played Napoli, and they beat them 2-0. Then this Sunday, I only have certain teams on here. I wish I had all the Premier games going on, but I ran out of time. Maybe during the commercial break I'll look at more. Liverpool plays Chelsea on Sunday, April 14th at 11:30 a.m. Then if you're an Arsenal fan, they play Watford on Monday, the 15th at 3 p.m. I do have the Premier League standings as of right now. I have 1 through 6. I ran out of time. Liverpool's in first place. Man City, Manchester City, they're in second. Chelsea's in third. Tottenham's in fourth. Arsenal's in fifth. And Manchester United is in sixth place. So if you like to keep up with the Premier League, that's some updates. There's some games coming up, like I mentioned. There's some games, I know there's games going on today and tomorrow. I think Tottenham plays today. I can't remember who they play, but I'll try to get that information for you during the commercial break. However, we talked about March Madness last week because it was right before the final was supposed to happen. And I was disappointed because, as I mentioned, I had Michigan State winning, and that would have been so good for my bracket had they done it, but they didn't. Virginia won, and it was their first basketball championship, the school's first basketball championship. And it was the highest scoring national title game since the Michigan State-Florida game in 2000. So that's cool. Not cool for my bracket, what happened in that game, but cool that it was the highest scoring game since 2000. But that's really, you know, March Madness is over. Good for Virginia. NBA playoffs, though, you know, I've talked about how they always happen around the same time as the NHL playoffs. Well, they're about to start on tomorrow. So the Golden State Warriors are obviously in the playoffs. They clinched the #1 playoff spot in the Western Conference because of who they are as a team. Because they have Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, and they're just a good team. And there's no one I see in the Western Conference that's much better than them. They will be playing the Los Angeles Clippers in the first round. I'm assuming it's going to be an easy series for the Golden State Warriors, the defending champs. I believe this would be, if they win this year, 3rd in a row, because I know if they won and then they lost and then they won 2 more, I think that's what happened. Then, okay, also in the Western Conference is Houston Rockets and the Utah Jazz. That's the other matchup. Then there's Portland and Oklahoma City. Then there's the Denver Nuggets and the San Antonio Spurs. And then we have the Eastern Conference. We have the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Detroit Pistons. The Philadelphia 76ers playing the Brooklyn Nets, the Boston Celtics playing the Indiana Pacers, and the Toronto Raptors playing the Orlando Magic. So, being from Florida, would be cool to see the Orlando Magic go far. Don't know if they will, because right now I think the final matchup will be Toronto Raptors and Golden State Warriors. I don't know. That's just who I have. So I don't really think the Orlando Magic are going to make it past the first round, because I don't think they're going to beat the Toronto Raptors. Yes, Raptors. I used to say there should be a band, if you guys have seen Jurassic World, called Chris Pratt and the Raptors, because, you know, he's a little raptor trainer guy. Sorry, went a little nerdy tangent for a second. But, yeah, as for the other series, I haven't made a bracket, because like I said about my NHL bracket, I made it on the app, and then I haven't seen it since and can't figure out how to find it. And then the NBA bracket, I can't even figure out, like, I have the app, but I, like, can't figure out how to make a bracket on it. I don't know if you can or can't. Someone please help me. I'm not the most technologically astute. I don't know if I even said that right. So anyway, Boston Celtics, Indiana Pacers. I'm going to say Boston Celtics. Milwaukee Bucks, Detroit Pistons. Milwaukee, I'll just give it to them. Philadelphia 76ers and Brooklyn Nets. I have trouble being here in Pittsburgh picking a Philadelphia team, so gonna say Brooklyn Nets. As for the Western Conference, obviously Golden State Warriors are gonna beat the LA Clippers, because they're the Golden State Warriors. And the Houston Rockets, Utah Jazz, I guess Houston Rockets, Portland and Oklahoma City. I'm going to say Portland because it's a cool place. And Denver Nuggets and San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to go with Denver Nuggets. They were, I believe, number 2 in the Western Conference, so I think they have a good chance. I just don't think anyone in the Western Conference is going to beat the Golden State Warriors. I think they're going to come out on top in the Western Conference, and in the Eastern Conference, probably going to be the Toronto Raptors. So yeah, because they've had a good team for the past couple of seasons, the Toronto Raptors, so they probably will continue to play well, and I think they'll definitely make it past this first round. I wonder if, who else could go against the Golden State Warriors? I just don't think anyone could really beat them necessarily at this point. I mean, if the Denver Nuggets do, like, if that happens for some reason where the Denver Nuggets, they play the Golden State Warriors and they win, I'm going to be shocked. If the Golden State Warriors don't make it to the final of this playoffs, which I believe start on May 30th. I think that's what it said. Wait. Yeah. End of May, I believe, is when the final series starts. And I just don't, if the Golden State Warriors aren't in there, I don't know what to say, because I just don't think that's a possibility. I mean, it is a possibility, but I don't think it's highly probable. So yes, Golden State Warriors, Toronto Raptors. That's what I have for basketball. When we come back, I will talk more about other sports, but right now I'm going to go to a commercial break. Sports. So the golf 2019 Masters going on right now. Last I checked, I don't have a lot of news on that, but last I checked, Francisco Molinari was in first place, tied with Ian Poulter. I believe I pronounced that right. They were -6 overall. Molinari was under 4 through 12. I checked on Phil Mickelson. I think he was under 5. I could be wrong, but that was, I checked like an hour ago. So, my boy McIlroy, though, he's not playing his best. He's over 1, +1. He's tied for 42nd place. So, not his greatest day, although the fact that it's not his greatest, he's not doing so well, and he's still only over 1. I mean, I know that's not great in golf, but if I played golf, I would probably be plus like 25, because I've never played actual golf. I've only done mini golf, and as my brother would say, that's just actual golf to me, because I'm 4'11". But it's not, and I just don't know how good I would be at actual golf. I would like to try it someday. I think I want to try like every sport, because I played lots of sports growing up, but golf was not one of them. Moving on, though, since that's all the news I have right now on golf, that's the latest updates I got. Baseball. Baseball season started a couple weeks ago. Pirates are the team here in Pittsburgh to pay attention to. They had a brawl on their game on Sunday because they had a series against the Reds. It wasn't terrible. As they had a homestand last week, and they played the Cardinals and the Reds, and out of those games, there were 6 games, and they had 4 wins and 2 losses. But then that last game on Sunday, the last game of their homestand, was when there was the brawl, and I'm putting quotation marks around that brawl because, I mean, like, there was some shoving and yelling, but it wasn't, I mean, the bench is cleared, so that's why they called it a brawl. But again, it wasn't like that exciting. What happened was Chris Archer threw a wild pitch, and it went behind Derek Dietrich, and the Reds, their coach, got mad, and David Bell, he was yelling at the umpire, and he started. Then that's when the bench is cleared and the brawl started. And 3 Reds players were ejected, 2 Pirates players were ejected. Chris Archer was not one of the players ejected for the game, but he was later, a couple days later, or maybe the next day. Again, I never know what day of the week it is. Chris Archer was suspended for 5 games. He was also making headlines because a Ohio broadcaster, not going to name any names because I don't remember it, but he accused Archer of using pine tar, and Archer was like, no, I did not. What happened was the broadcaster was like, oh, I saw a dark mark on his shirt, and Archer was like, why would I put pine tar on my shirt? So what he was saying was he was in their throwback uniforms, they don't have belts, so he kept pulling up his pants, so he probably had some dirt on his hand and got some dirt on his shirt through doing that. Also, I don't see Chris Archer as one to cheat. As for those of you, be nice if I could talk, who don't know, pine tar has been used, I think, in the past in baseball to get a better grip because it's sticky, but also it's like, I feel like that would make it worse. I mean, I pitched in softball, and like, I would not want my hands to be sticky, but I don't see how that's helpful. I mean, it gives you a better grip, but also no. So like, I don't know. I feel like that would make it harder for me. But the Pirates just had a series with the Cubs. Game 1, they lost 10-0. That was harsh for them. But then the second game, they did come back. They won 5-2. And then in Game 3, there was a rain delay. But they ended up, I think they picked the game back up at like 11 p.m. I don't know. I was getting in bed. But I didn't fall asleep at that time, but I tried. Yeah, they ended up losing 2-0. So the Cubs, it wasn't a series sweep. They didn't sweep them. But it wasn't great for the Pirates. They do play the Nationals tonight. They start a series against the Nationals tonight at 7:05 p.m. I will be paying close attention to that. I think the big thing with the Pirates is their bullpen, because what I saw last week and during their homestand is they would be up, and then once the starting pitcher had to be taken out, you know, they can only pitch so many innings, they would have trouble. I think, so that's what made me believe the bullpen is the issue. So also just like defensively, just get better. They just need to get better. Oh no, I bumped my henna. So anyway, the Blue Jays and the Red Sox played. I have some other scores, just kind of, and the Blue Jays lost by 1 point, 6-7. Red Sox won. Cardinals and Dodgers is the other game I have a score for. Cardinals beat the Dodgers 11-7. The Tampa Bay Rays, I don't have a ton of stuff on here about them, but they have been playing really well. I believe, are they number 1 in their division? I think that's the last thing I saw, is they're number 1 in their division. And I think they've been underrated for a while. They are a good team. They have some great players. So I think they'll continue to play well this season. I mean, I've seen them have some pretty big games this season. Like I think they scored 10 home runs, or not home runs, but they had 10 points. 10 runs. Yeah, so I think the Rays are a team to watch for baseball. Pirates, I believe, are second in their division, but overall they're down there. They're not doing well. Like, yeah, I think the Rays are a team to watch. Like I was saying, I mean, Tampa this year. I mean, for hockey, the Lightning were the team to watch. So I guess baseball, the Rays are like, we got to step it up. We want people paying attention to us too. So, yeah, Tampa's been underrated. I don't know if the Bucks are going to play well because they've been notoriously bad. But, I don't know. Maybe I'm just mean because Bucks rhymes with sucks. But, yeah, I think the Tampa, said this already, but the Tampa Bay Rays are the team to watch in baseball. Other teams, I mean, I guess the Red Sox. They're not doing as well as people expected, though. They did beat the Blue Jays. Dodgers maybe haven't been great, but again, it's early, so anyone can come back and be the best team. And they can, yeah. Besides that, I think that hockey is taking a prevalence right now because of the playoffs. And sorry, something got stuck and it's bothering me. And yes, the Penguins. Defense needs work. I was kind of predicting off-season trades. They're going to do something to change up the defense. I think they really need that defensive defenseman because they love their two-way players. I mentioned this. I think that was a big reason why they traded Daniel Sprong, because he being a forward was just playing offensively, and they wanted him to do better defensively. Which, yes, offense can't just play offense, It affects your plus-minus if the other team scores while you're on the ice, so why not play defensively too? But that's a big thing for the Penguins, and I think they need to focus a little less on that and a little more on defense, like strict defense, because players like Olli Maatta, Chris Letang, I mean, Justin Schultz scored, so, like, we'll let him keep being a two-way player. But other ones, they're, like, just not, they're the defensemen and they're not showing up. They're just not doing their job. I mean, that's kind of harsh, but they're not doing what what the team needs them to do. And that's not ideal, obviously. So, I mean, Chris Letang, Brian Dumoulin, I think even Olli Maatta, they've been injured. They came back. It's been, I think Olli Maatta came back, like, a couple weeks ago. Again, time is, I have no concept, of time. So, and Letang was injured. Letang has dealt with injuries quite a bit. Dumoulin just got back from an injury. He went back to the locker room during the game. He got kind of injured during the game, but he came back. He was back out on the ice. So, yeah, it wasn't his ideal return to the lineup. I don't think it was any of the players' ideal game. I think they definitely are working. I'm sure they've worked on whatever they need to work on in order to play better tonight. We'll have to see how that goes. But I do see a trade coming in the offseason to change up the defense. I don't know who it will be. Obviously, I'm not good buddies with GMJR, General Manager Jim Rutherford. So I don't know anything for sure. And even if I did, I wouldn't be able to say it. So I can make predictions. I was thinking if they're going to trade a big player, like a big franchise player. I was thinking Phil Kessel for a while, but having scored last night, if he does step it up, maybe he won't get traded. Maybe he still will. Who knows? If he is someone who GMJR is looking at trading. Other than that, defense, I mean, Jack Johnson was out, so there's a chance they might move him. Olli Maatta, a lot of people, I was talking to someone the other day, and she was saying he's basically done, which I think is a little harsh, but I just don't think he's a fit for this team anymore. It's sad because he is a young player, so, to say he's done, that's very harsh, but, he just, I mean, he had a lot of injuries and whatnot, so he has been through a lot, but I just think he's not a fit for the Penguins anymore. I'm sure they'll keep Chris Letang. I don't know, because like I said, it's really the defense that needs changes. So when they've had quite a few defensemen, because they kept making trades for defense, but they need to make a big one, is what I'm saying. They need to really make a change, because that's the thing that Tampa, that's why I thought they still do. I still think they have a good shot of winning the Stanley Cup this season because of the fact that they have these good defensive players, because defense obviously is a big thing. That's how you stop people from scoring. So stop the other team from scoring besides the goalie. But yeah, Matt Murray didn't play his best game. He has his ups and downs. I still like Matt Murray as a goalie, but he was definitely off on Wednesday. So other than that, I can't remember. I'm trying to remember what my prediction for the final game was, like the final series, Stanley Cup series. I know it was the Lightning. I don't know if I don't think I had the Predators. Maybe it was the Flames. Huh. I wish I could pull up my bracket, but if anyone knows how the NHL app works and you don't have a way of contacting me, like my number, I'm just going to quickly plug my Twitter. It's Lindsay Rose 03, Lindsay Rose 03, because I'm lost. I can't find my bracket and I can't remember it 100%. I can tell you, like I said earlier, out of which matchups right now who I think is going to win. But then, like, I had the whole thing set up, but I lost it. I don't know where it went. And the NHL app is confusing me because I was playing around on it forever and I just could not find my bracket. So, other than that, Penguins need to fix their defense. First line needs to step it up a bit, but I think Sidney Crosby, he'll figure it out. And, you know, I still have the Lightning winning the Stanley Cup championship. I'm sorry, guys. I know Pittsburgh wants to bring the cup back. I know they want to bring the cup back to Pittsburgh. I know they're craving a 6th Stanley Cup championship, but we'll have to see what happens. Would I like the Penguins to surprise me and pull it off? Sure, that would be great, but I have the Lightning. That's all I have for you today.